used to drive, you know, his qualifications initially stated, you know, light truck driver, half tracks, stuff like that. So maybe he went there to learn how to, you know, drive these things in the desert.
Could have been a 2-week course or something. They just
Very well
shipped
could have
out.
been.
Yeah.
But from what his military qualifications are, because I still have that original, it's got here, Army qualifications, they have him, okay, ammunition carrier, truck driver light. And you say served in this capacity overseas in Sicily, Naples, Foggia, Rome, Arno, Germany, southern France. Drove all types of military vehicles, half-track up to 2.5-ton truck. And then it's got here, I don't know how he got a good conduct medal, because what he used to tell me what they used to do occasionally.
Yeah, that's on my.
Yeah, me
You gotta
too.
stay out of jail, that's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, he wasn't arrested.
But he told me that the medal that he was most proud of was the combat infantry
Yeah, they
medal.
all say that.
He
Everybody
said
said
all the other ones, they were okay,
That's
but,
traditional in the Army.
but he said the combat infantryman
Right.
badge was the one that he
Yeah.
the most wanted.
It's kind of like the Purple Heart. It
Yep.
shows you where they're at.
Yep.
No, yeah.
See, that's what I mean, like, you know, he got a couple Purple Hearts, but I'm trying to find out how he got them. I
That's
mean,
hard.
I don't know if they wrote forms, like, you know, for daily forms, or, you know, say, you know, a roll call. Now, when you were there, did they
There's
take the
daily action,
roll
there's
call?
action reports.
Right, the action
All
report.
units have to have what they call a
Right.
daily action report, and it goes into the unit's thing.
Mhm.
Not always accurate.
Now, would that say my father was missing from there because he was maybe in the hospital or on leave?
Nah, usually it's,
You know,
it's any change in the unit or what they
What
did.
happens in our squad is when anybody got injured, the sergeant told the
Right.
our headquarters,
Right.
and that's where it ended up. That's all. That was it. When we one night we hit a land. Our half track ran over a mine and blew the front end off, and the driver got a scratch on his thigh, and he got a Purple Heart for that. And the sergeant reported it to the staff sergeant and so forth, and through the channels, and goes to headquarters, and that's where they get the record.
but, you know, this is, you know, information like this is what I'm trying to dig up, but apparently no one has these anymore, or if they do, they're buried away in some warehouse
And they're not
somewhere.
accident.
Yeah.
It's like in the police department. You got an action thing that happens, and then like you report it, and then the final record, you know, you got your stuff in your notebook, but the final record that gets out may not reflect
Exactly.
close to what you have.
Well, that's the reason why I stopped talking to newspaper reporters. I only talk to one
Well,
and
that's not,
everything.
no, I mean the police department
Yeah.
record. It's up, because you're passing it on to your tour commander, it's the lieutenant, whoever does the stuff.
If you remember,
College is back in,
um,
so you have college reunions and,
yeah. What were we talking about?
artist festivals.
About like the after-action reports and things, you know, all the, you know, if you were
Yeah, he's talking
hurt,
about
where forms went
When I go
to.
back too far, I forget. I go back so far, it'll come back to me.
A person you're talking about?
You know,
Yeah, once, 'cause they
The
all.
last you talked about was somebody was hitting in line,
Yeah, it was sitting,
mine explosion?
or the front end of the half-track was blown up, and he got a scratch in his leg.
you know, that's when the record, that's when it went into record. Keeping, well, that's what I was thinking. The records in Washington DC were burned from the 45th Division. They were burned in the fire.
St. Louis.
You know,
That
one,
was in St. Louis.
St. Louis,
fire?
was that it? Yeah.
All the records, yeah.
Okay, now my records were burned also. Because when I applied for a medal, somebody applied for, you applied for a medal for me for my, what was it, the regular, everybody got one.
you know, like
You know, they said that the records were not available,
Lost, yeah.
lost in the fire.
it's basically, you know, Colonel Foster, you know, I sent him a letter, he sent me like the form letter, how we had to type it up and all. And, you know, I got all my father's medals that were due him, he never got, like, some that weren't even issued until after the war ended is when they said that you qualified for certain medals, and, you know, I've got all those now.
Yeah, because we did get
Yeah.
those.
I finally got all his medals, but a lot of the stuff, like you said, it was just gone now. You know, all the information for him.
That's why you find that, like, when people try to retrace, like, let's say they try to give somebody a meritorious award from back, they gotta get witnesses now,
Yep.
because a lot of stuff was lost. Like, you know, a guy like, I read this in the military magazines, 30, 40 years, 50 years later, he's getting a Silver Star or something. Because the company commander had the information and he was killed.
Yeah.
See, the stuff never got back.
Right.
So, to find official records, I mean, like I said, anything you saw in the police department would be like that happened, and if you were to read the official record of
Yeah.
it, it's not what happened. Because there's a certain amount that they write to make look good, or they just leave out. You know, they forget it. A lot of that stuff, I really think, unless you knew somebody that was right there, you're never going to really reconstruct it too much.
Yeah, I got hit in the leg in Battle of the Caves, and I lost half of my leg. So I got below the knee.
Oh my goodness.
Unfortunate, I got my knee.
Yeah.
I remember my father, through this book here, he makes little notes. My father was not a note taker, but he makes little notes, or he'll underline certain parts. I know he has something about the caves in here. And, you know, again, like I said, my father very seldom talked about the
But
war.
when you gave him that book, he was like,
Oh, yeah,
where'd
well,
you get
yeah,
this?
when
He
I-
was so happy
Yeah.
and so
What's the book is
surprised.
that?
This is from the 157th book.
I never saw it.
Yeah, well, you should still be able to get it through the association, though.
What is it like? It just has.
It basically has, you know, from the very beginning, when they left from Newport News up through Dachau and all, up until the end of the war. You know, with the 40, or with the 157th here.
Ah.
And when I got this in the mail, you know, I put it in front of him, because, you know, a lot of times I would
Where'd you get
say,
it from?
oh, it was from the 157 Association.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I think it was like $20, $25, but to me, it was, you know, well worth
Yeah.
it. But it was funny, I gave it to him, and he would say, what the hell I want to read that stuff for? He said, I was there, I did it. He says, I want to forget about it now. But then, you know, I just said, well, here.
They
You know.
don't want to forget.
Well, when
But
I
then you start
told him, I
looking
said,
at it.
when you get the time, just take a look at it. And it was almost like I couldn't get it away from him here
That's
today.
typical of all.
Oh, but that's it. It's the same
Simple,
story.
I mean,
over
we
and over.
didn't, I remember when I got home, I mean, don't remember discussing anything.
No, like you said, who are you going to talk to?
Yeah.
If you weren't around other veterans that were with you,
Now they want everything for the record, you know,
Yeah.
they want your history. My daughter wants my, this thing, resume of
resume, yeah.
Yeah,
of
resume,
the
yeah.
experience from the time I was in.
Because we wanted to pass it on to the kids, so they
Yeah.
know, because we all know what
Well,
you did.
my daughter was 15 months old when my father died. My son wasn't even around then, you know, after he was gone. So he has no recollection of him
Nothing.
at all,
No.
nothing at all. The only thing that she might remember, because he died, he had emphysema
Right.
and cancer, and when we used to take him to his treatments, where she would sit on his lap
In a wheelchair.
in a wheelchair, and we push him through the lobbies and stuff like that.
Wow,
And,
that
you know,
does
she would
ring a
get a
bell.
big kick out of that. But,
It
you
does
know,
ring
I
a
mean,
bell.
at 15 months old, you're not going
Yeah, I
to
don't remember.
remember
Yeah, I don't
much of
remember.
anything
How
at
old?
15 months.
15 months.
Yeah, she was 15 months old at the time when he died.
Well, you were able to talk, weren't you?
Oh, yeah.
Probably.
She was talking when she was 8 months old.
Girls talks before that.
Oh,
And then they would shut up.
you know.
Ah,
He never
hey.
talked up until the time he was 3 years
That's
old.
right, yeah.
Because she wouldn't let him.
That's right.
She
She
answered
would
for him.
talk, and he would try to say something, and she would talk for him.
She would tell me what he wanted.
Yeah,
You would ask him a question, and she would answer for him. That's why he never talked for a while. We thought there was something wrong with him. Because for 3 years, he never said a word. And it's because she never shut up.
That's right. That's right.
What influence your sister had?
Now he gives her a hard time.
But, you know, it's,